chosen one, before the world told you who to be, before fear edited your dreams, your soul already knew. As a child, you escaped into fantasies not to run from life, but to remember it. Those imagined worlds were not random games. They were signals, early messages from the universe whispering your true direction. What you loved pretending to be, what made time disappear, what felt magical and natural to you, those were clues. Now, at this moment, the universe is circling back, asking you to look again. Your purpose was never lost. It was simply waiting for you to be ready to recognize it with adult eyes and awakened courage. As a child, you lived closer to truth than you realize now. Before the world layered rules, fear, and expectations onto your mind, your inner compass was clear. When you imagined yourself as something greater, something meaningful, you were not escaping reality, you were touching it. Childhood fantasies are not random creations of the mind. They are reflections of the soul, remembering its original blueprint. The universe speaks softly at first, and it chooses moments when the ego is quiet. That is why it speaks through play, curiosity, and imagination. In those moments, you were not pretending to be someone else. You were rehearsing who you already were. Think about how natural those fantasies felt. There was no forcing, no overthinking. You didn't question whether you were good enough or whether the dream made sense. You simply stepped into it. That ease was alignment. The universe encoded your purpose into experiences that felt joyful, magnetic, and timeless. When you played for hours without noticing the clock, when you felt alive and expanded, that was your energy matching its intended direction. Purpose does not begin as struggle, it begins as attraction. Many people dismiss childhood dreams because they don't look logical in adult terms. But logic is learned. Resonance is innate. The universe does not communicate purpose through spreadsheets and plans. It communicates through feeling. What stirred awe in you? What made your heart race? What made you feel powerful or peaceful at the same time? Those were not accidents. Even fantasies that seemed unrealistic carried symbolic meaning. Wanting to fly may have meant freedom. Wanting to save others may have meant healing or leadership. Wanting to create worlds may have meant innovation or storytelling. The form was childlike, but the essence was precise. Notice also that these fantasies were persistent. Trends came and went, toys changed, interests shifted. But certain themes stayed with you. You might have stopped playing the games, but the pull never fully disappeared. That persistence is the universe marking something important. Surface interests fade. Soul memories repeat. The universe repeats what matters until you finally listen. As a child, you didn't need validation to believe in your inner world. You trusted it instinctively. That trust is part of your design. Before self-doubt entered, you moved with confidence because you hadn't been taught to question your worth. This is why remembering your childhood fantasies can feel emotional. You are not just recalling ideas. You are reconnecting with a version of yourself that was whole, unfragmented, and guided from within. The universe is inviting you back to that frequency, not to live like a child again, but to reclaim that inner permission. There is also a reason those fantasies appeared before you understood responsibility or reward. Purpose is not born from pressure. It is born from authenticity. The universe showed you who you were before survival instincts took over. That early exposure was intentional. It ensured that no matter how far you wandered, there would always be a reference point inside you saying, "This feels familiar, this feels right." Some of those fantasies may now seem distant or impractical, but look deeper. Strip away the costumes, the settings, the exaggerated powers. What remains is a core desire to express, to serve, to explore, to build, to guide, or to transform. That core has not aged. It has been waiting. The universe never wastes energy. If something appeared in your inner world early and stayed emotionally charged across time, it carries purpose. When you reflect honestly, you may realize that your most authentic moments as an adult happen when you unknowingly step back into those same energies. You feel more like yourself when you create, help, lead, imagine, or discover, just as you did then. This is not nostalgia. This is recognition. The universe is revealing that your purpose was seeded before fear had a voice. Your childhood fantasies were not dreams you outgrew. They were truths you temporarily forgot. And now, as awareness returns, the universe is asking you to remember, not with regret, but with reverence. Those early visions were introductions. This moment is the continuation. As you moved from childhood into the structured world of adulthood, something subtle but powerful began to happen. The same universe that once spoke to you through wonder now allowed contrast to enter your life. This was not punishment, it was refinement. When responsibilities increased and expectations tightened, your natural expression started to feel inconvenient to others. Slowly, the message shifted from "be yourself" to "be realistic." This is where the distance between you and your purpose began. Not because you failed, but because you adapted in order to survive. The pain you experienced growing up was often misunderstood as weakness or bad luck. But in truth, it was resistance to misalignment. Every time you were discouraged from following what felt natural, a quiet tension formed inside you. You learned to silence parts of yourself, to fit into environments that did not recognize your frequency. The universe allows this phase because contrast sharpens awareness. You cannot fully understand alignment until you experience what it feels like to live without it. Criticism played a major role in this separation. When you shared ideas or dreams that came from your authentic self, and they were met with doubt, laughter, or dismissal, you internalized the belief that something was wrong with you. Over time, you may have stopped sharing altogether. This wasn't because the vision disappeared, it was because self-protection took over. The universe understands this instinct. Survival is human, but suppression has consequences. What you suppress does not vanish. It turns into restlessness, dissatisfaction, or unexplained sadness. Many people believe pain means they chose the wrong path, but often it means they abandoned the right one. Notice how the areas of life that brought the most frustration were often the ones where you felt forced to compromise your natural inclinations. You may have succeeded on paper while feeling empty inside. That emptiness was a signal. The universe communicates through emotion when logic fails. Fulfillment is not a luxury, it is alignment feedback. You were also taught to measure worth through productivity, comparison, and approval. These external metrics replaced your inner guidance system. As a result, you may have chased goals that looked impressive but felt hollow once achieved. The universe allowed this too. Each time something failed to satisfy you, it was peeling away illusions. Disappointment became a teacher, pointing you back toward authenticity. There is a deeper reason why certain wounds cut so deeply. They touched the core of who you were meant to be. When your creativity was minimized, when your sensitivity was mocked, when your leadership was challenged, or when your compassion was taken for granted, the pain lingered because it struck at your essence. These experiences didn't destroy your purpose. They revealed where it lived. The universe highlights purpose through contrast, making it impossible to ignore forever. Even the detours served a function. Skills you learned in misaligned spaces gave you resilience, discernment, and perspective. The universe never wastes experience. What felt like lost time was actually preparation under pressure. You learned boundaries. You learned empathy. You learned what you will no longer tolerate. These lessons are essential for anyone stepping into authentic purpose, because purpose without wisdom collapses. The feeling of being misunderstood, overlooked, or out of place was not accidental. It was a sign that you were not designed to fully belong in systems that reward conformity over truth. The universe sometimes isolates those with unique frequencies, so they don't permanently blend into environments that would dilute them. Loneliness, in this sense, was a protective pause. As you reflect now, you may realize that your pain always pushed you inward. It forced self-questioning. It asked you to confront what truly mattered. The universe was not breaking you. It was breaking the illusion that you could live disconnected from your essence and still feel whole. Every ache was a message saying, remember who you are. Your growing pains were not evidence of failure. They were evidence of misalignment, trying to correct itself. The universe uses discomfort as a compass, pointing you back toward the path you once knew instinctively. And now that awareness has returned, the pain no longer needs to shout. Its job is almost done. As time passed and you gathered experiences, the universe never stopped communicating with you. It simply changed the language. What once came as vivid fantasies now returns as quiet urges, repeating thoughts, and unexplainable attractions. These are not random interests. They are echoes, refined signals of the same purpose that spoke to you in childhood. The universe is consistent. It evolves the message as you evolve, but it never replaces it. You may notice that certain ideas follow you throughout life. No matter how many times you tell yourself it's impractical or too late, they return. You might ignore them for years, only to find them resurfacing during moments of stillness. This persistence is intentional. The universe repeats what is aligned until it is acknowledged. Passing interests fade quickly. Purpose lingers patiently. Pay attention to what energizes you rather than what simply occupies you. There are activities that drain you, even if you are good at them, and others that seem to refill you from within. When you engage in the latter, time feels different. Your body relaxes, your mind sharpens, you feel more present. These sensations are not emotional coincidences. They are alignment indicators. The universe uses your nervous system as a guidance tool. Often, people are drawn toward helping in ways that mirror their own early struggles. If you were misunderstood, you may feel called to communicate clearly for others. If you felt unsupported, you may naturally offer encouragement. If you felt lost, you may guide. The universe transforms wounds into wisdom. What once caused pain becomes the channel through which you serve. This is not accidental. Purpose matures through lived experience. You might also notice that people gravitate toward you for specific reasons. Some seek your insight, others your calm, others your creativity or strength. These patterns reveal function. The universe organizes connections strategically. You are not attracting random situations. You are attracting reflections of your capacity. What feels natural to give is often what you were designed to offer. Even your curiosity points the way. The topics you research without obligation, the conversations that light you up, the skills you develop for no external reward, these are clues. The universe does not demand motivation through force. It invites participation through fascination. Where there is genuine curiosity, there is alignment potential. It is important to understand that purpose does not always look dramatic. Many expect it to arrive as a single, life-altering revelation. More often, it reveals itself as a pattern of quiet consistency. The universe whispers through repetition. It shows you the same themes from different angles until recognition occurs. When you finally see it, it feels obvious, almost familiar, as if you are remembering rather than discovering. There may also be fear attached to these echoes. Acting on them can feel risky because they threaten the identity you built for safety. But fear does not mean wrong direction. It often appears when truth demands expansion. The universe does not remove fear. It places courage beside it. Growth requires movement despite uncertainty. You are not being asked to abandon everything at once. The universe works through integration, not destruction. Purpose unfolds in layers. Each small alignment creates clarity for the next step. When you honor what feels authentic now, even in modest ways, momentum builds naturally. Resistance softens, confidence grows. What once appeared as childish fantasy now appears as refined desire. The form has changed, but the essence is the same. The universe is showing you that nothing was wasted. Your imagination was training. Your experiences were shaping. Your interests are reminders. When you listen closely, you may feel a quiet sense of rightness when you move in certain directions. That feeling is not excitement alone. It is recognition. The universe is confirming alignment. This is how purpose feels when it is lived rather than imagined. Your current desires are not distractions from responsibility. They are invitations to authenticity. The universe is not calling you backward. It is calling you forward, carrying the truth you always had into the life you are ready to build now. At some point, awareness becomes a responsibility. Once you recognize the pattern, once you see how the universe has been guiding you from the beginning, you are no longer just remembering. You are being invited to respond. Purpose does not activate through thought alone. It requires trust expressed as movement. The universe meets clarity with opportunity only when intention becomes action. This is where many hesitate, not because they lack ability, but because they fear the consequences of authenticity. Trust begins internally. It is the willingness to believe that your inner knowing is not naive or outdated, but informed by something deeper than logic. You have been taught to seek permission, to wait for certainty, to demand guarantees before you move. But the universe does not operate on guarantees, it operates on alignment. When you take a step that matches your truth, conditions begin to rearrange. Not all at once, and not always comfortably, but consistently. Action does not mean dramatic leaps or reckless abandonment of stability. The universe honors sincerity more than scale. Small, honest steps carry more power than grand gestures driven by fear. When you create space for what feels right, through learning, practicing, speaking, or choosing differently, you signal readiness. Momentum builds quietly. Doubt lessens as evidence accumulates. Letting go is part of this process. You cannot fully step into purpose while clinging to identities formed for survival. Some roles you outgrew without realizing it. Some expectations you carry were never yours to fulfill. The universe asks for release not as loss, but as alignment correction. What falls away makes room for what fits. Resistance only delays what is inevitable when truth is acknowledged. There may be moments when progress feels slow or unclear. This does not mean you are off path. Purpose is not a straight line, it is a living process. The universe tests commitment through patience. It watches whether you will remain aligned, even when results are not immediate. This is how integrity is built. Consistency proves intention more than enthusiasm ever could. As you act from authenticity, synchronicities increase. You meet people who support your direction. Information arrives at the right moment. Opportunities appear that you could not have planned. This is not luck. It is responsiveness. The universe collaborates with clarity. When your actions match your inner truth, friction reduces. Flow replaces force. You may also face internal resistance, old fears resurfacing, voices from the past questioning your choices. This is normal. The mind protects what it knows, even when what it knows is limiting. Do not interpret resistance as a sign to stop. It is often the final defense of an outdated identity. The universe does not remove these voices for you. It asks you to choose which ones you obey. Purpose matures through embodiment. It is not proven by intention alone, but by lived expression. Each aligned choice strengthens trust, not only in the universe, but in yourself. Self-trust is the true foundation of purpose. Without it, guidance feels confusing. With it, even uncertainty feels navigable. As you continue, you may notice a shift in how you define success. External validation becomes less important. Inner coherence becomes the metric. You begin to feel successful, not when you impress others, but when your actions reflect your truth. This is alignment made visible. The universe measures progress by authenticity, not applause. Eventually, purpose stops feeling like something you are chasing and starts feeling like something you are allowing. Effort remains, but struggle decreases. You are no longer forcing yourself into a shape that doesn't fit. You are expanding into one that always did. The universe revealed your purpose early, refined it through experience, and now invites you to live it consciously. The invitation is ongoing, but it responds to courage. Each step taken, in truth, strengthens the path beneath your feet.